For beginners, understanding a story like the Sad Dove Song from Sri Lanka involves exploring its origins and related cultural tales. Start by looking for the main story, then learn about other similar legends and cultural elements. And finally, connect these ideas to understand the bigger picture of Sri Lankan folklore. When you look for a famous story called the Sad Dove Song from Sri Lanka, you might find it is not easy to find. There is no well-known folktale or big story with this exact title. Searching for it online or in books about Sri Lankan folklore does not give clear results. This can be confusing for someone trying to learn about the country's stories. It is possible that this title is not from a famous story shared by everyone in Sri Lanka. It might be from a story that is only told in a small village or a specific area. It could also be a title from something else, like a poem, a song, or even a play. Sometimes people remember titles a little differently. The name, The Sad Dove Song, might be a misremembered title for another, more famous story that has a dove in it, or is about sadness. So, while the name is beautiful and sounds like a classic tale, its specific story is not widely known. There could be some confusion between the Sad Dove Song and other popular stories from Sri Lanka. The search for a sad dove might lead you to different kinds of tales that are very famous on the island. Sri Lankan folklore is full of amazing and sometimes scary legends. Many of these stories are about powerful demons. For example, there is the story of Bhairawa. Bhairawa is known as a demon of the earth, and people used to believe they had to make offerings to him before starting any construction, like building a house or a temple, to avoid bad luck. Another famous demon is Mahasona, or the Great Cemetery Demon. Legends say he was a giant warrior who was defeated in a fight and now roams cemeteries, often riding a pig. These stories are very different from a Sad Dove Song, but they are a big part of what makes Sri Lankan folklore so interesting and unique. Beyond demons, Sri Lankan legends also tell stories about ancient people and the beginnings of the island's history. One of the most important stories is about Prince Vijaya. He is believed to be the first king of the Sinhalese people, who are the largest ethnic group in Sri Lanka today. The story says that Vijaya came from India with 700 followers and landed on the island. When he arrived, the island was inhabited by mythical beings called Yakas and Nagas. The Yakas were believed to be a tribe of powerful, magical people, and the Nagas were a serpent-worshipping tribe. The story of how Vijaya and his followers interacted with the Yakas and Nagas is a foundational myth for the Sinhalese people. These stories are about kings, queens, and mythical creatures, not a simple dove, but they show the rich history and imagination in Sri Lankan storytelling. It is possible that someone looking for a Sri Lankan story might mix up the names and think of these powerful legends. When you search for stories related to Sri Lanka, you will often find the word Lanka. This word is very important because it connects to one of the most famous epics in the world, the Ramayana. In the Ramayana, Lanka is the name of the island kingdom ruled by the demon king Ravana. Many people believe that the Lanka from this epic is the modern-day country of Sri Lanka. The Ramayana tells the story of Prince Rama from India, whose wife Sita is kidnapped by Ravana and taken to Lanka. Rama, with the help of the monkey god Hanuman and his army, travels to Lanka to rescue her. The epic is filled with battles, magic, and lessons about good and evil. While this story is originally from India, it is deeply connected to Sri Lanka's identity and history. There are many places in Sri Lanka that are believed to be the exact locations mentioned in the Ramayana, like the place where Sita was held captive. This connection to the Ramayana is a very important part of Sri Lanka's cultural background, but it does not directly mention a story called the Sad Dove Song. There are other parts of Sri Lankan culture that might be related to the idea of a sad song or a dove. Sri Lanka has a very rich and diverse musical tradition. The music on the island has been influenced by many different cultures over hundreds of years. There is traditional folk music, which is often simple and tells stories about daily life, work, and love. There are also strong influences from Hindu and Buddhist religious music. Chanting and religious songs are a very common sound in Sri Lanka. Later, European cultures, like the Portuguese, Dutch, and British, who colonized the island, also brought their own musical styles. This mix of influences has created a unique sound. It is possible that the Sad Dove song is not a folktale, but an actual song from this rich musical tradition. A song about a sad dove could be a folk ballad or a modern piece of music that expresses feelings of loss or sorrow, which are common themes in music all over the world. Understanding Sri Lanka's culture means looking at its stories, but also listening to its music. Explore these different areas to get a full and colorful picture of the island's traditions.